Let's move on to a belter of a race and a betting heat, I think, as well. The Champion Chase. So prices, first of all. Last time I looked, it was last year's winner at the top of the market, Energumen, although Edwardstone was shortening up and closing in a little bit. We'll flash them up for you very shortly. Deasy, I think you're spot on with Edwardstone, 2.96. Energumen is 3.05. So Edwardstone with Matchbook does head the betting. Editor 7.8. Deasy.
Yeah, I look tipping a fan. We can't say there's value in his price, but I think out of them all, he's probably been the best of them this year. For all that he lost the last time, he just gave Editor Gita an easy lead, and if he had got going, 5 or 6 strides before he did, he might have caught him. There's no way he'll get an easy lead this time, and I mean, Gentleman to Me will be up there with him. I just think Edwardstone probably doesn't get the credit he deserves, and he was a good winner of the Arkle last year. And I think he deserves to be favoured here, and I think he's a right chance.
Yeah, with you all the way there, as is Adele.
You're unmuted, Ed.
Am I? Oh, yeah. I could never desert him anyway. I absolutely love Edwardstone. And yeah, I mean, Tom, I don't know, maybe could have made a move a little bit sooner, but it's hard, isn't it, when you're trying to ride your own race? And especially after what happened at Kempton, he was probably just kind of making sure, he got himself into a good rhythm and made sure he was jumping well before he kind of really challenged him. Editor De Geet had gone already. I'm glad someone's tipped him, though, because that horse does deserve to be mentioned. Like, what he's done this season is the way you can just go out and, like, he gallops, man. That horse is, like, he's so brave. So I'm glad someone's mentioned him. But Edwardstone, for me, like, I still think his head was down literally just after the line. I think he had kind of had the phrase, he was like up when he kind of really needed it, but then after the line it was down. I think he might have just edged it, but but I'm going with him anyway. So, but I'm glad someone's mentioned Editor De Geet because he does deserve mentioning.
Yeah, go on, Matt. You can jump straight in there and give us just your trend as well.
So the trend is that winners of this season's Desert Orchid Chase are 6 from 14, 144% profit. Hunters tend to look at the Desert Orchids at right-handed, sharp, flat track, completely different test. And that's all true, but the common element between the Desert Orchid and the Champion Chase is both races are all about speed. Whereas races like the Tingle Creek, and in particular the Dublin Chase and the Clarence House, when it's at Ascot, are more a mix of speed and stamina. And there's a misconception you need a 2.5 miler in the Champion Chase. You don't. It's all about speed. And it's about jumping at an eyes-out gallop. So the Desert Orchid tends to be a much better trial than the market gives it credit for. Just going back to that Clarence House, remember that Edwardstone did get past Editor De Geet. He traded at 1.01, I think, but Editor De Geet just out-battled him at the end. And I think the old course could really suit Editor De Geet. It's a speed test, 133 yards shorter, possibly on quicker ground. It'll help. His jumping will be a real asset there. Edwardstone is a really good, strong stayer at the trip. Really lovable horse, very good finishing effort generally. But in the Arkle last year, they didn't go quite as quickly as usual. And in the Desert Orchid, where they probably went a bit too quickly early on, just seemed to get him out of his comfort zone, and he tipped up at the 5th. So whilst I very much respect Edwardstone, I think the price differential between them is too big. So the value bet is Editor De Geet. We're going to come on to Gentleman to Me in a minute. He's one I'd definitely be looking at the vibes are in the run up to the race because he's very much a spring horse.
Donn, tell us more.
He is. He really is. Like he beat Edwardstone in the Maggle Chase last year. So, and maybe Edwardstone underperformed a wee bit after the Arkle, but I don't think he underperformed that much. And Gentleman to Me, and like Aintree suits him really well. He jumped well. He's a free-going sort. And like he was very disappointing earlier this season. He ran 3 times, got beaten in all 3 races early in the season, through the winter, on soft ground, for all that it was officially yielding at Leopardstown over Christmas. But then he came out at the Dublin Racing Festival in the Dublin Chase, and he was very, very good. He had done Vegan for company for over the first 3 or 4 fences, so he didn't get a solo in front, but his jumping was very good. He beat Blue Lord impressively. Now, maybe Blue Lord underperformed a little bit as well, but he's a coming horse. All his form last season was in the spring from March onwards, and He's just a horse who I just think he's under the radar. Like, he was a massive price for the Champion Chase before the Dublin Racing Festival. He's not as big now, obviously, as he was then, but he's still big. And as Matt was saying, the speed test that is this track at the Champion Chase on good to yielding ground, or well, good to soft ground or thereabouts, that will suit him really well. And look, it's a hell of a matchup between Energumen and Edwardstone, with Edited Dujit in there as well. But I think Gentleman de May he's a horse who's underrated and therefore overpriced. I think he'll run well at a big price.
Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Donn not put Gentleman de Me up at the Dublin Racing Festival as well, and he is a spring horse, no doubt about it, and he's beaten Edwardstone. The two at the top of the market are short, considering they've both shown that they are vulnerable as well. I mean, the one thing I definitely don't buy into is Energumen being put off by the white paint on the British fences last time out. As in, I think that was a really poor excuse, if I'm honest. But he could bounce back. But like I say, I just think both of them are short when they've shown that they are beatable. And Edited Dujit is a worthy opponent, and Gentleman de Me especially so. You know, he's obviously second season chaser. He was a Grade 1 winning novice, and he was very, very impressive like your last time, beating a good horse in Blue Lord. So I think at 10.0, he's way overpriced in this.
He was put up by Donn at 8.5 at Dublin Racing Festival. He's also one of Matt's horses to follow this year. Okay.